Welcome to the Hustle and Motivate Podcast, everybody. I am your host, one of your hosts, Marcus.
Will.
What's going on, Clint? And today we got a really, really special guest. A guy that, we have known. How long we've known this dude?
I don't know, man. Almost 10 years. It's been 9 years.
Since the day we met. You took me to meet him at the Marriott. And
for sure. Yeah.
We had that cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And all that other stuff.
Yep. Man.
This gentleman has been around a long time. I can probably say he's probably a unicorn because he gets along with everybody. I don't think he's in anybody's clique. He's probably a part of everybody's clique. So we got Ryan Wynn here today of our Wynn Collective. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm great.
So give people a little background, introduction of who you are.
Yes. So I'm born and raised 757. Been here pretty much all my life.
Hold on. So you born and raised in 757. You got to break that down for the people. What city, man?
Chesapeake.
Okay.
Specifically.
All right, there you go.
Specifically Chesapeake. Yes.
Do you know they rated Chesapeake the number 3 most boring city in Virginia?
Oh wow.
I believe that. I believe that.
Well, I can
rate
say
that made my heart.
Why? It's a fact.
I love it.
I love Chesapeake.
Y'all stay out of Chesapeake.
Yeah.
I
Stay out
don't
of Chesapeake.
play in Chesapeake.
No, nobody
plays in Chesapeake.
Right. I literally go there
to live and go back. Like, this is peaceful. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Leave it as boring as it can be.
Definitely.
But go ahead, man.
Yeah.
I just want to, because like that 757 thing. Like we're collective.
Yeah.
When it comes to other people, but amongst ourselves,
we don't deal with Newport News.
No, in Hampton.
I mean, I just don't go in that side of the water unless I'm still going.
Yeah,
it's the tunnel.
It's the tunnel.
It's the tunnel.
But if you say you from the beach and you from Norfolk, man, you know I'm at. But so let somebody else come in and say something about the 757.
Yeah.
Problem.
Why are y'all so? The beach people think y'all just higher than everybody.
Because we are. Wow. But go ahead.
Wow.
Everybody know I'm from the beach.
Yeah.
Green Run.
When you go out of town,
when
you go out of town and somebody asks where you from, I'm from Chesapeake, Virginia.
No,
that sounds great.
What you gonna say? You gonna say you from?
First of all,
everybody know about Virginia Beach.
I say no.
First of all,
that they know about no. Go ahead.
Please introduce yourself.
Go ahead, Ron.
Love it. Yes. So born and raised Chesapeake.
Right.
Went to the University of Virginia to actually pursue architecture. Got there, went through my first year, and was like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. And I actually was in organizations where I was planning. Didn't know that that's what it was.
So you just planning parties and
so
just events and stuff?
I was in choir, and I was in some other organizations, but I would help them plan events.
I got you.
In the choir, I was planning concerts, any of our fundraising events, like that's what I was doing. It became second nature. And I believe for a couple of student body organizations, I was doing the same thing. Never knew what it was until my dad kept saying like, hey, you should pursue event planning. And I'm like,
didn't even know that was a thing, right?
I'm like, the only thing I know about an event planner is Jennifer Lopez on The Wedding Planner.
That's a fact. Yeah.
I was like, I'm a dude. That's not, like, I can't see myself doing that.
Right.
But I started researching more and more and realized that event planning meant so much more. There's event coordinators, there's project managers, so many other things.
The design aspect of it, right?
That incorporated that same thing. So then it was like, okay, no, this is what I want to do. And then I just started pursuing it more. Then weddings actually became my thing. But initially that was like, nope, I didn't want to do that. Fast forward years later, after working with in venues, like we said, how we met, 2019, I ended up going full time. But at that point, I started thinking of other stuff that I was blessed with being able to do. And a creative, we can go so many different areas with that. But interior design was one of the things that I did for a lot of my clients. Growing up, my grandfather did carpentry. And so I was building bookcases and things like that with him on the way. If anybody purchased something that came in a box that had to be put together, they were calling Ryan to do.
Right.
So interior design was like in my blood as well. And so with going full time and knowing other vendors that have been doing this for so many years and having the experience of like, hey, this time of year, there's slow moments and stuff like that. I knew I had to incorporate other things into the company. And so that's why I brought in the interior design as well as concierge work. And the concierge is basically when other vendors are able to subcontract me and or just different things of organization that I'm blessed with being able to do that fills in the other holes that don't that are not already
So
filled.
you filled a lot of holes that most people, when they just focus on weddings, because it's seasonal.
Right.
Like, here it's March, maybe, it's stretching out to December a little bit here.
Right.
But, that January, February, back into March is kind of rough. It can be rough.
Right.
So you fill that in with other things that will consistently
provide income. Too, our July, August is like...
It's got slow as well.
It's hot. We don't want to do nothing. Yeah. So, those months, I also do... holiday installs. So my winter months where most of the time like weddings and stuff like that slows down November, December, I'm still setting up. I have 2 big hotels at the oceanfront, and a couple others sparse from there, but then I'm filling in that hole too. So it's just me having great relationships with vendors that have been doing it full time for so long, and them being so transparent about certain things allowed me to realize, okay, I have this map that I need to like set in place for when I go to pursue it full time myself.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just worked.
When did you know that it was time? When did the light bulb go off? Like, I can survive being a planner / concierge / interior designer.
So I worked at 2 different venues, and during the second venue, I just started getting, I guess, antsy. So I started looking for jobs. At 2 out of 3 years, I was like interviewing, and I was going different places. I was interviewing out of the area, all of that, and it got to a point where I was like, okay, Lord, I know I'm indecisive, and so I ask you to move stuff out of my way when it's not for me.
Right.
I was like, but none of these, like, this don't make sense. Like, one of these got to be for me. And so I eventually had a conversation with him and was like, what do you think about me going, pursuing my company full time? And I wholeheartedly feel like he was like, I've been waiting on you. So,
and I think you picked a weird time to do it. You want to talk about that?
Right.
Because it was, you said 2019.
Right.
Before.
So summer 2019.
Oh man.
Decided to go full time.
Yeah.
Literally, so July, I think, is when I put in my notice. They had me stay on for a couple more months. So October is my official end date. But then we say 5 months after that, the world
February,
so, going into 2020 with that happening was like, okay, we got to figure out what we about to do. But because you guys know, event world, it shut down. We couldn't meet, we couldn't touch, we couldn't be around each other. But because I had incorporated the interior design in, I was able to stay afloat during that time. So I started doing stuff like this, shooting videos of me. We don't never have time to do stuff in our homes because we're busy. So I was recording videos of painting and redoing my fireplace. I redid my kitchen during that time, like those things. But it also boosted to where I was able to kind of pivot and do virtual interior design.
And that works because at that time everybody was on a device.
Yes.
So just watching you do that, they're like, oh, I never thought about changing this out. Maybe I'll just run up to Bed Bath & Beyond or whatever and do this and change this out.
In Home Depot, lineup was always long. But that was the thing too, where people had time to sit and like look. So it's like those walls is like ugly green for all these years, but I ain't never paid attention. But now you're home and like, nah, let's go ahead and change it.
And it gives you something to do.
Right. Exactly. So it helped me to get those things done. I think I had been in my home for 5 years at that point, and I had never done the things that I wanted to do. But it also helped with the business because then I was getting people from all over to inquire about interior design services, and then I was able to do virtual consultations with them and then actually send them groundwork to be able to do stuff on their own. So that kind of helped pivot to go until we were able to go back outside. And the counts went up as far as events, but I also love dinner parties, and I was able to do a lot of small intimate events during that time because of the numbers too. So it kind of it was a crazy time to think like, oh wow, you're leaving the corporate world, you're leaving something that's stable, but at the same time my counterparts that were working in venues were always scared because they didn't know if they were going to get that tap on the shoulder like, we gotta furlough you.
But that happens all the time, and that nobody ever talks about that. Like those jobs are so transitionary, like in and out. It's like a revolving door.
So, but to that point though too, on venue side, it happens that way because one, you're probably not always being paid what you should be paid. You're not respected for all of the time that you put in. Because for even now, for me being a event planner, I go in, this is my start time, this is my end time. That doesn't exist when you're a venue person or a catering sales manager or stuff like that, because you're there from start to finish. You're there throughout the week, making sure that stuff is being handled correctly, so you don't. And I wholeheartedly feel like you move around in that side of the world because you want the respect, you want the notoriety that you're having because of the tenure that you've been doing it, but you don't always get that places.
I probably assume you probably get burnt out doing that very quickly too. You do. So how many days a week were you working? 6, 5,
right?
6
like
days.
6. Yeah, working in a venue, definitely, like 6 days a week.
So you're moving on to another opportunity, hoping that you'll get paid more money, and then you'll get burnt out there because they may pay you more money, but they may have. What happens if you have events Saturday and Sunday?
Right.
And you got to come. They expect you back in on Monday.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So stuff like that, and especially like when I was at the hotel and I was doing event management, so I'm handling conferences. Your conference could be a 7-day conference. You gotta be there all 7 of those days because you're the contact, the hotel contact for your contact. So like people definitely get burnt out in doing those things because and that's why they end up moving around, because like, oh, this may be a better opportunity or this is a step up, because we know too, as entrepreneurs, the sky's the limit as far as elevation and all that for us. But being in those positions, you can get to a point where, oh, I can't move up anymore because such and such is in the way, or like they not gonna leave because of whatever. So you get to that point too where it's like, okay, I'm stuck. Let me move on to something else. And honestly, my journey was being at the hotel. At that time, I was at the top hotel in the area. We didn't have some of the other hotels that do a lot more now, but we could do seated probably 1,100-1,200. So then I moved up to a convention center because within the first 3 months that I was there, we were doing plated for like 3,200. So I knew that also for me was an elevation in my career of being able to handle it. The numbers from whether it's 2 people or 5,000 people on different events that we were doing. So that was kind of where I took that journey, just so that I could then, now as an event planner for clients, I know all the sides of it to be able to be a better planner for them. Yeah.
So pivoting, what's more, not lucrative, but what fills your calendar more at this point in your career? Is it events, the interior design, or the concierge, or anything else that you may have going on?
Honestly, it's a happy mixture of
That's
them
good.
all.
Okay.
It's a happy mixture of them all. But I also sometimes question when I see other planners online, or if I see other interior designs, I'm like, dang, maybe I should just focus on one.
Right.
And I still am trying to answer that question of whether or not I should.
Is there one that you're more passionate about than the other? I know it's like picking a favorite kid, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I can't really say, because deciphering between the two, like events are events, and they like, it's usually a 1 day, maybe a 2 day, but you're like going through the motions. Of course, you're working with the client throughout the time, but I get a different kind of high from that versus when I'm working on interiors and like, this is something that somebody's gonna live in for a long time. So I get a different kind of high from that. And then with the concierge portion, I don't have to think. So those are things where I've used my skill set to be able to help other vendors and things like that. I don't like doing my own admin stuff, but hands down, I do admin management for 2 other companies, and I can like get their stuff done. So it gives me that where I don't have to think, or I don't have to create. I can just do.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's kind of a happy mix of them all for me, because working in corporate world, it was just so mundane. Every day was the same. And I think that's what I transpired into my own company. It's like, I don't want every day to be the same.
You wanted something different.
Yeah.
That's okay, cool, man. Yeah. Right. I did have another question. You've been doing this a while now.
September will be 12 years.
See, that's a long time, man. And do you think that entrepreneurship is for everybody?
It is not.
Okay.
It is not. And so that's one of the things that I always try to make sure when I'm telling my testimony. During that time of that 2 years of looking for a job, my relationship with the Lord got better. So I could hear him.
It's a spiritual journey in that.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. And that helps me to know know that I knew that I knew,
Right.
that's what he was saying.
Right.
And so I always try to strive to tell people, like, you got to get your relationship, like, on check before you're making those decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I took a leap of faith and it worked, and I went through pandemic and he's still holding my hand throughout all of it. But legit, like, to me, you will know if it's not coming from him, because it's not going to work how it's working.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I feel like we've all been there. We're like, man, it's what month we in? May. We in May, right? And then you looking at your October, like, man, November, like, man, I don't got nothing.
Yeah.
And then somehow, September
yeah,
come around, and the emails start flowing, and you thinking your winter gonna be chill. Next thing you know, your winter is jam packed.
Yeah.
So it's like, I always believe that what's for you is for you.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things where, if, like you say, if you're in the right area, then he'll always sustain you.
Oh yeah.
So I think that we all can say is like, it's not for everybody, but at the same time, it's not for everybody. And some people, I do believe, are called to potentially make that move, but they don't lean on faith. They don't just say, look, I'm gonna just do it.
It's a trend today.
That's why Steve Harvey say that whole, if you go, one of the few things I take from him is like, you gotta just jump. You just gotta take the leap.
Yeah.
And
find out.
That's one of the few things.
One of the few things.
Right there with
Yeah, one of the few things.
that's another podcast. But it's one of the things where people tell me, man, I wish I could start a business. I'm like, you can. What are you good at?
Yeah.
What do you feel like? Because everybody has a gift. Now,
yeah, for sure.
Everybody's not meant to monetize it.
No.
Right.
But some people are, and they just can't. They can't decipher. Oh, is this something I need to step out on faith on, or nah, I'm gonna stay where I'm at, and then they'll just go their whole life regretting or wondering what if.
And I think that's a terrible way to die, bro.
Exactly. But at the same time, I think we all, I don't know about you, but I know for me, I don't know about Ryan, I know for a fact, I have a plan B. If this ever went left, I know what I can do immediately. Yeah. I'm sure, you know that, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be a hitman, so we know what you
I've been thinking about being an EMT, bro.
See? But we all have a backup plan, and I'm not knocking nobody who do the 9-to-5 thing.
Yeah.
I did it. It wasn't for me, but it's like I can't get over the people who are miserable in their 9-to-5.
Yeah.
And they have a skill that they just don't want to explore.
But it's the motivation behind it. There's multiple things that make entrepreneurship work. It's your own motivation. It's being real with yourself about stuff. But it's also your support system. Yeah. Like, I have a business coach, but I also have great people that have been in the industry with me for a long time that have pushed me. Two great people that are planners, April Roberts and Michelle with Marlena Events. We've been friends for a long time. Right. And one of the things that we tried to change the game as far as being friends and being planners. Yeah. We support one another. Yep. We send business to one another, and that's something that, honestly, and to go back, when I first moved from college, I wanted to do event planning right then. I was like, yes, I'm gonna do this.
You weren't ready.
It won't that I wasn't ready. Our
area wasn't ready for what you were trying to do.
And so, like, trying to, like, get my foot in the door and things like that, it was always slammed. Like, people didn't want to know who I was. They weren't nice. They weren't, like, trying to be able to, let me in. Yeah. But then when I was working at the Marriott, like I said, at that time, being the top hotel, then people wanted to know who I was.
And they act like they ain't never get your email or your Facebook message. Like, oh, I can't.
All those
things. I remember, you don't know me, but I remember you.
Right.
You looking at them like, oh, now you need me.
Right.
Okay.
So, that was that kind of progression. But in knowing them, they've always pushed me to, up your rates, or let's talk about what our packages are, and like things like that. And now knowing other planners like Perry and Caroline and things like that I'm able to be transparent with, like, so that we're not saturating the market. Like, we're on the same playing field as far as being in the industry and doing events for a certain period of time, and so being able to not saturate the market because I'm not trying to outshoot you or outshine you in those situations, like, honestly helps me to be able to do that.
There's literally thousands of businesses in this area.
Thousands.
There's literally, I don't know, maybe at least 100 venues, maybe all over 757 going to Winsburg and Richmond. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes during the weekday.
Yeah.
There's room for everybody. And one of the main things I feel like longevity of myself, and I'm sure all of us would say, is that we're not here to. If somebody need help, we're gonna give them something. We're gonna help them.
Yeah.
I never want to be the person who says, if somebody came to me and said, "Man, I want to learn how to do this." All right, I'll show you, but just know I'm not gonna take it easy on you because because I remember when I was starting my business, I Facebooked everybody. Miss Michelle was one of them. I remember.
I want Miss Michelle. She's cool people. Great. Like
she emailed me back.
Yeah.
She actually messaged me.
She's
back.
the only one that would
message me back.
Yes.
So and she just gave me one little nugget in like a message, and that was it. I really wasn't ready to meet her, but she said whenever you're ready, come by. So but I remember all the people who didn't say anything.
All yes. I mean every last one of them.
Anything. Michelle, Carla, Cedric.
Yeah.
Emer were the only 4 people that ever talked to me. And Mike Dragon.
Emer,
those are my 5.
Emer brought me on to plan a fashion show at one of the show brides events.
He gave me,
and that was kind of how
he brought me on too.
Yeah.
He gave me a free video so I can. He probably pimped me out. I ain't forgot it. But he gave me a trade.
Yeah.
And people like that stay around for a long time. People like that don't. They have like the fountain of youth, Michelle. All them just look great because I feel like they do great things with great people. Yeah. And I feel like that's the key to this business is the ones who were tight with it.
Which I can say, being on the other side of it, that some of those same people that I reached out to then that I wasn't hearing anything back or but now I have really, really good relationships with.
Yep.
Have said it's because you're so inundated with like people reaching out and you don't know who's genuine or not.
That's true.
As a planner,
that is true.
That's true.
I can honestly say that we get saturated because somebody planned their own wedding.
Yes.
Or backyard barbecue.
Yep.
Or family reunion, and now they think they can go and be a wedding planner, and it doesn't take that.
So let me ask you this: when did the? Because you guys are like licensed to a certain extent, right? It used to be. You were licensed.
I have my business license.
Yeah. So it kills me and you went to school and you've learned backgrounds and all. It kills me. When did history or your resume not matter?
Right.
Like for example, one of the major resumes you could say was, I worked at hotels inside catering. I know how to cater inside work. I also know how to plan your wedding.
Right.
I've been under companies that can vouch for me.
Yeah.
We own Miss Michelle for sure. She's been around, 20 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
So when did history and experience no longer matter?
Yeah. I don't know.
I can tell you exactly when. The same thing that you're talking about that got you the interior design work, I think COVID just changed everything. Because we were sitting around getting all this content and information.
Like it was before then.
It started before then, but that just expedited the process.
Everybody wants to look out for up and coming. Everybody wants to think, I remember them, but you take a major gamble with certain things. Basically, us 3. You take a major gamble.
Yeah. I think that we'll
trying somebody who has never just tried it. And next thing you know, you be the first one to hate on them or be the first one to write a bad review or be upset. But it's like
you knew what you were getting into.
Yeah. Also, I feel like a planner brings the team. They are I won't say coach, but they're like the GM. They build they can build the team they can build where everybody works well together.
Yes.
And people don't factor that into a plan because it's like we both have done weddings when you see a good one and you don't see a good one or you don't see one at all and you're like, I can tell you right now what problems you're gonna run into.
I already know.
Right.
Because you didn't choose the correct planner.
Right.
And I already know walking into this day.
When it's
this not gonna end.
Even if something as little as time.
Yeah, but I know that too of being on venue side and being in situations
you
where
know from the jump.
You don't. Oh, okay. Which now I'm appreciative that a lot of venues have started going the route of requiring you to have at least a day of, and they say that it has to be a licensed person because somebody's gonna be like, "Oh, my aunt can do it because she plans the church anniversary."
Yep.
No, like that's not the same thing. It's problem solving in things, and I can't even put into words some of the things that come up during a day. But then my clients look at me like, "Well, dang, how did you figure that out?" Like, but it's the 12 years of experience that I have of doing so many different things that I'm able to think on my toes to be able to get stuff done. Yeah. When you've not done it before,
you don't know. You don't know what's coming.
Like,
yeah.
I did a wedding, and I was with a new photographer. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't the fact of the matter is what she had never experienced it, because the wedding was smooth. But I could look at her and tell, you haven't been in this position before. And the only reason why, because the time I had got behind. You haven't been in this position before, right? And I'm looking at her and I'm like, chill, breathe.
You're fine.
You got a planner.
Yeah.
She'll get us back where we need to be. You just got to go to her and say, okay, how much time do I have?
Yeah.
Or take her adjustments and just then the planner's job is to figure out why they're behind, because it looks bad. First of all, and I told her, if they're behind, you guys get the blame, unfortunately. Like, everybody looking at you like, well, it's Ryan's fault. No, it was your MUA's fault, who I told you not to book.
That's the start of the day right there. Go ahead, Ryan. That's the real right there.
That's your MUA's fault. Right there.
That's the start of the day. That is the start of it all.
I kid you not, love my vendors, but makeup artists and my photographers or video group will literally throw off my day. And I'm like, that's why a timeline is created for those purposes, is so that we stay on track. And when you don't stay on track, it can literally change the whole outcome of the day.
Change everything.
Because then it's a trickle down effect. And me also working on venues, if we don't start on time, that means food is not going out on time. Food has already been prepared to start at a certain time. So now that's sitting in hot boxes for longer than it was supposed
food
to.
Is not
or
fresh.
Stuff like that. Or you're not able to get all of the things done during your reception time when you're trying to dance, or whatever, or you're not even enjoying it because it's just boom, boom, boom of all the logistical things. It is such timeline. Is like, is all I can express. And as a planner too, on the day of, I don't want to have to answer questions for you that you would have already had on your timeline.
Very true.
And at this point, I've been doing it for so long that I'm gonna be real crash with you and be like, hey, Did you get my email this week with that timeline?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I have a printed out copy for you here.
Here. Get out my face.
Or ask my staff. Like, that's just not, I can't do it.
I don't blame you.
I've prepared this for you to be able to handle. Yep. There's no reason for you to not be able to do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
On the track.
I think you're truly something special, 'cause I really like what you done to me. I can't really explain it. I'm so into you.
Pause in the action. You like this interview? You like the knowledge you're getting? You like our guests? We continuously do this week in and week out. So we'll be bringing content to y'all week in and week out. If you want to catch the next interview, like, subscribe, hit the ring bell for us. Get notified on the next episode of the Hustle and Motivate podcast. Let's get back into it.
When a client books the Wynn Collective, let's do both sides. Mm-hmm. When a client books you for a wedding, what can they expect from you?
All knowing. That's a little hard to say, but it's just, I have created an event business that there's no holes in it if you go along with the process. I have amazing vendors that help me do what I need to do. I literally, and going back to the point of we're talking about working with people and being able to be cohesive, if my roster is my roster that I want my roster to be, it makes my job so much easier, because at the end of the day, I know that my vendors are not going to let me down because of the relationship that I've had with them. So relationships is a big thing for my clients, because sometimes you're getting discounts, sometimes you're getting stuff that you wouldn't normally do, or vendors are doing stuff for me that they don't do for other vendors.
Sure.
And that's a big thing. That's a big deal.
I don't get that. That's the thing I'll never understand. if somebody recommends or sends you somebody,
Mm-hmm.
most likely it's to your benefit because that person believes, like for example, Will's very disgruntled. Very disgruntled. We're going to put it out there now. He doesn't like working with a lot of videographers. He said that on the many podcasts, right? When he has worked with a few in the business, he has called me the next day and made it clear, I'm only recommending you. I'm only recommending you, right? That is probably because we know each other so well that he knows where I need to be and what I care about. Right. Certain things, if I switched up one day, like for example, everybody who knows me, I'm not going out there for family portraits. There's no reason for me to be out there, right? So he'll call me and let me know we about to start one-on-ones. But if I ever stood out there in family portraits, he's probably gonna look at me over and say, like, why are you here? What are you here? We have a system. We have a system. Yeah. And that it wasn't something that we purposely worked on, but we've worked together so long. Same thing with you. Me and you have worked together. The first time we were able to really work together, we kind of just fit because it's like he never really worried about what you got a time out? Yep. You got any questions? Nope. He didn't bother me the rest of the day.
Exactly.
The rest of the day.
As long as you going to where you supposed to be at,
as long as I'm supposed to be at, and the time is supposed to be there, he don't have to look for me to be there.
Right.
But it kills me how you'll get booked, especially more so planners, and it just won't take no recommendations and expect you to make it happen. It's like,
and that's the bad
how you
thing.
think I'm gonna make
I still make it happen, and then it's just like, no.
But they don't know what you go through to make it happen.
No, they don't. I've had some really good clients lately that I've actually disclosed things to. Like, bruh, I don't even know. And I'll say this one because it's not a local vendor. But I had a DJ that was from out of town. And I'm speechless right now because it just was like,
he just don't know what
he told me about this one.
It was just a crazy situation, and I'm like, I don't understand. He literally came in. He told me that when he books, he does not do ceremonies. When he books his wedding, he doesn't do ceremonies. And I'm like,
what? Okay.
All right. Then I was like, well, the bride has prepared this on her iPad. Can we like plug into your system? He's like, oh, I don't have no cord for that. All right.
It's aux cord.
DJ don't bring an aux cord?
And now I'm Team Samsung all day.
Right.
But people that have iPhones have all of those cords. Like, it doesn't make sense that you would not have that cord to be able to plug in. But I feel like he was doing it on purpose because he didn't really want to help.
Do it, right.
We get to the time of going into reception, and he has the timeline because I provided him with one. And he's like, so it says wedding party introduction. Who's going to do that? You are.
You are.
He's like, oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure. I was like,
but why would you want to make sure you know?
I was like, well, all of my other DJs actually do that. And I walked away. Drop mic, walk away.
Oh.
Why? Like, you're a DJ. You're the one that is what to me. That's like I'm playing it all day. I get me to the officiant. He's taking over from there.
Yeah.
Then I play it again during concert hour. I get me to the DJ because you're the master of ceremonies. And then you're taking over. It's your time to shine. I don't understand why you thought that anybody else would have been doing any of those things.
You should be conducting. Hey, we're gonna do cake cutting here. We're gonna do
right.
And after that, it's all on your
all the things. Yeah. So it definitely helps. Like to your point, I can rest easy when it comes to knowing the vendors. And to your question of not knowing why, I cannot understand why people don't. Other than, I can't understand why people don't go.
I really want to know the science behind it because if they're booking you, let's just say
the first person they book, by the way, outside the venue.
I was going to say,
most of the time,
the process. Yeah, it's like you get your venue, you got an idea. Hey, we want to get married here. Venue might give you a list of recommended vendors. We probably need a planner. I don't want to deal with it anymore. Right. So they hire Ryan. Ryan said, hey, we need to get video and photo booked next.
Right.
Because that's
based off your budget.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the key.
Yeah.
He knows your budget.
So
he's picking people based off that price point.
And I like to do, I like to be fair. And most of my vendor friends are fair people where they feel like I don't want to work every 52 weekends in a year.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
So I provide at least 3 options for any of the vendors, unless it's like cake, Incredible Edibles. I'm sorry, anybody else, but like Incredible Edibles cakes is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like so, like there's certain vendors where I may not offer a lot of different options, but for the most part, I'm offering different options, like a couple different options. But it's people that I know that work well together. It's people that I know that their price point is good, but also the quality that you're going to get after it. Like I know it's going to be bomb. But I let them pick from there. But I still have situations where they kind of differ from there, and then it's like, oh, well, my cousin suggested such and such, and so, and I'm like, because years ago I had a wedding where we were able to book the photographer that I suggested, but they brought in somebody different for video. The photographer complained so many times because on his great shots that he was trying to get, the videographer was going in and standing in the frame. And it's like, those are one of the to me, one of the greatest things of having a great relationship between your videographer and photo. You have to. And even a team of 2 people on photography, like they have to be a well-oiled machine that they're not running on top of each other and they're not running down like in the way. But yeah, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, I've been in a lot of altercations. Yeah, I think a lot of videographers in this area don't like me anymore.
Gotcha.
Just understand. Look,
at the end of the day,
probably no.
Okay.
I feel like it's the like we talked about earlier or the other day about with video. You may not always look at the video, or now people will do the Instagram reels, and like those are really big, so like they want that. But your photos are what you're printing out and you're putting up. It has to be a great relationship between those people that are able to do what they need to do. That same wedding, somebody jumped in the aisle, which wasn't a vendor, but a guest jumped in the aisle. As my couple is coming down the aisle doing their jump in the broom,
to take
my
picture?
photographer missed it. Yeah. Because that person jumped in the aisle. But I equate that to being situations where when you have vendors that don't know what they're doing, like we're getting your way too for those type of situations. And then it's like, I could have had that shot, but
I see that coming though.
Yeah.
Me personally, I can.
With another vendor or like
with a guest, because I know they do it. They'll creep. No, they do this throughout the ceremony. They're not just going to get out and just do it right.
Oh no,
they've been planning for that right.
They've been planning for that moment.
Yeah.
And she'll start framing it up a little bit, a little bit here and there. Hey, don't jump out here and do that.
Yeah, this one though.
You don't think so?
Yeah, she was a couple people in.
So she jumped across the aisle.
Yeah, she wasn't even on the aisle, so it was not even because I will stop people in the moment too. Like, hey, nope, you're not going right there. Like, and even stopping people. One of the pet peeves that I have of wedding guests. We talked about this a little bit. One is not showing up on time. Like that irks me to no end. But 2 is the clients have paid good money for a photographer and a videographer. Your cell phone ain't it.
I've always had what do you do with those photos? What do you do?
I bought them on Facebook with their album and say had an amazing time.
Okay.
So tagging so and so.
I got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, but get out the way.
That means what?
Like for me, it's get out the way. Yeah. Like because now you're in the way of shots that somebody's being paid to take.
At this point, I don't even. I'm not fighting with nobody. You know that. I put them right in the video.
No, I love doing it.
You got to see.
Oh no, see, I tap shoulders.
I love. No, I'm talking about if they do it. If I can't stop them, like if that situation, unfortunately I can't cut it out.
Oh, you can't do that.
You got. Unfortunately, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
Now, if I see it coming, I mean, I'll do what I got to do. But I think it's just a matter of people so excited. I don't know what it is about that first kiss coming down the aisle.
They just want to say they got it.
They captured it. Yeah.
Like I saw, I had a lady who recorded the entire ceremony one time. I mean, straight up.
Weren't even there. Weren't even there.
Like,
right, you're not in it.
Like, she ain't tired yet.
Yeah.
Like
maybe she was live streaming for her.
No. She was. I have had somebody go live at a ceremony, but you would think they would be somewhere like where they can see everything. They were in the back, like in the middle room. I'm like, why are they these people I know?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
It's not my job. It's not my job to ask questions. Hopefully, when you find out, you're gonna be pissed. But
Right.
it's not my job. So, okay. So speaking of being late, okay, that's a thing. What's some other, I guess, pet peeves or trends that go on in weddings? You're like, I wish my clients would stop that, or wish guests would stop this.
Yeah. So one of the things
That hinders the wedding. So
Right.
people need to know that.
Yeah. So being late is one of my, and I don't understand. Like, if the time says the time, show up at the time. I have people that will show up and we done already finished because our Wynn Collective starts on time.
I've seen that.
Like,
I've seen
I don't play that. If I have my officiant and my couple,
It's gone.
we in, and
the vendor's there.
Right. The only time I will deviate, because I don't care, your parents could not be there. We gonna start. The only time I deviate is if the client, especially with video, if the client feels uncomfortable about the amount of people that are in the audience, because then on video, then that looks not good.
Nobody shows
It's like,
up.
it's just so empty on this side. But also when you're working with great vendors, they be able to work around that too.
Yeah.
So, not getting that specific angle or whatnot. But that's a big thing for me. One of the other things that we provide as a service, it's a long day for our couples. Maybe not for the groom because they're not doing makeup and stuff like that. But it's a long day for the bride. So during reception, I always have my DJ to make an announcement to allow the guests to enjoy the couple to enjoy their food. And then I also have one of my assistants that stands guard at the sweetheart table to make sure. But it's something about, like we were saying, with people taking pictures and all of that they still feel like, I got to come and do it. But one of the things, like, leave them alone.
Yeah, leave them
like
alone.
They've had a long day. They've literally gone from one thing to the next and not even necessarily had alone time because y'all watched them do their first kiss.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so allow them to have this opportunity to be able to do that because and then they want to eat. They want to enjoy the same food that you're enjoying.
You're supposed to be enjoying
that they had at their tasting. So that kind of thing is definitely one of the things that I like to be able to do more.
See that?
Yeah.
That's what they be doing.
Yeah.
See how uncomfortable you got? See how uncomfortable you got? You're like,
yeah.
But they don't even try to even.
No, they don't
even get their attention no more.
Yeah.
They'll just come up to them. You ever eating? They'll be like, at my wedding, there's a picture. Midway eating. Here come my aunt.
Right.
Middle of y'all eating.
Right.
I mean, I'm mid food.
Right.
I look up.
Right.
Why would you do that?
Right. And then go like, so you're saying, what you doing with that picture?
What are you doing with it? I really want to. I've always asked that question.
What are you doing with that picture of a mouthful?
I photographed over 200 weddings, and I see people with iPads and their phones.
You know, it's more funny when they bring the big iPad.
When they bring the big iPad, and they
I kid you not, I have not seen that in a while.
you seen the big iPad in a
I've
while?
not seen the big
Well,
It's
iPad.
man.
iPad tree kicked in, and they were.
Yeah, but when they was
That
bringing
flap
on,
come down.
I got one for you though. Not too long ago. You like Samsung, right?
Mm-hmm.
Buddy had the unfold the
Okay.
the flip open one.
Yeah, the Z
He
Fold.
in there all night long with his phone. Like,
But here's another trend that me and Will have experienced. Remember that wedding last year we did, and the guy bought his own camera and was right beside me and you.
yes,
I
ridiculous.
I have had a wedding where
I mean,
they didn't hire you though.
I'm moving,
Go sit down. son.
I'm moving around, and as I'm moving, he moving. I'm like,
What are you?
hey man,
doing?
let me know if I'm in your way.
You already are.
Right.
What you
Right.
mean?
And then he put out the video
I remember that.
the next day.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, if the couple wants you there, okay, cool. But
Yeah. They probably didn't even know.
No, they knew. I think they knew because they knew him like
they
that.
knew, yeah, they knew him.
And
But
he put the photo and the video out.
he had a whole reveal. I was
The
like,
next-
okay.
Well, you still got your money.
I mean, that's
Now
that's how I
that
feel.
was 22.
Plus, I'm not intimidated by whatever you put out.
It won't gonna be mad.
Yeah.
That was 22. Now, had that been me, I don't know, maybe like 6-7 years prior to that,
Mm.
him and I would have had a problem. We would have had an issue. Like, you ain't putting this out before me. Like,
Yeah,
you ain't about
yeah.
to be nine. Like,
Yeah. But that's one of the things too I always express to clients. I'm like, I have vendors that get stuff done quickly, but at the end of the day, like, you're not their only wedding.
yeah, they don't care though. They don't care.
He goes through that. I don't.
I don't care. Man.
I get that too though with my clients, and but it's a training process that we go through.
Training. I like that.
These are my operating hours. I'll get back to you within 48 hours. Like, it's a thing that I've learned, but those things I've learned to do in my business because of what I couldn't do working at venues and working with somebody else. Because
they was
I gotta do it, and I'm getting in trouble if I don't respond back to somebody the same day, and stuff like that. Whereas now it's like, oh no, my operating hours start at 10 a.m. and I don't do nothing before 10 a.m. Yeah. They end at 6 p.m. I may do stuff after 6, but like having those guidelines in place helps me to create more balance. I allow it for my wedding clients the 2 weeks leading to the wedding.
Sure.
Like, stuff could pop
up.
But
throughout the year?
But throughout the year now.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I used to say that when I was young. Hit me up anytime. I got you. Yeah. You got my phone number. You got my email. You can text me, call me. I got my phone number. I'm in front of my computer. Don't do that.
But I also separate it too. I have 2 phones.
Now. I see that. Yeah. I like that.
When I don't want to do,
you cut it off.
That other phone goes over there. To the side. Yeah. Do not disturb or whatever. Like I again, creating those boundaries was very important to me, coming from corporate world to now, and knowing how to keep my peace. Yeah. Because we talked about corporate world being, I was doing 6 days a week in a venue, but now I do 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have a cutoff time.
A week, but
and that's what but the thing is, I think that's another thing people don't get, because I have to have that conversation with my parents. Like, they think I just got this abundance of free time, or I'm more flexible with my time. And like I tell him, I'm like, I've gone to the point where it's how I tell people. The same way when you go on vacation, when you take a day off, when you come back to work, that work's still there. Mm-hmm. I have to make up for this time somewhere. Yeah. So if I had allocated myself to do something from 9 to 12, and you need me to do something, as my parents, I'm going to make the adjustment. Yeah. But when I finally free up, those 3 hours are getting made somewhere else. At another time. So I don't really have the free time. If anything, I work. When you go home, you go home. Right. When I go home, I'm still working. Right. We work as much as it's, because any entrepreneur, it's our minds.
It don't rest.
We all have this sleepless nights where you try to cut it off and do something, and then in the back of your mind, you're thinking like, did I do this? Did I do that? Especially you. Did I order this? Did I order this? See, you got it different, because that whole remembering to email and plan and the time, and remind my client to do this, that they do that, managing their budget. No.
Yeah. No. That's a lot.
And then managing their attitudes, or when they're not in the mood, or when they get flustered. No.
Yeah. No. Oh, we're definitely counselors.
Right. Yeah, you got to listen to all the, I ain't spending no more money. Well, unfortunately, you kind of have to.
We need to.
Yeah. I've had a groom pull up on me one time in the Starbucks parking lot and say, "Do you think I'm making the right decision?" I do not. I'm like, sir, I'm 25 years old. I don't know if you should be asking me this. Like, I don't know. I can say as a planner, I've never had someone
No, sir, buddy.
I said, I think.
I'd have been like, what did you decide on that, brother? The money's mine.
But look, that was the problem though. He was giving me a check to pay me that day. Do you think I'm making the right decision?
Man, he wasn't joking.
Yeah. No, he wasn't. No, he was dead serious.
Yeah, sir. If you question it, I think question it to a vendor.
They're not together now.
Like,
that's just
right. Yeah.
So now we've talked about client. What is interior design? What is trends or things you wish people would get out of, or you feel like they need to know if they're gonna go with an interior designer?
Yeah, I think when you're hiring somebody, being open-minded about it. Obviously, you've made that step to
realize I can't do it. I need a professional.
Yeah, to want somebody else, but it's being open-minded about the ideas that were coming through. I realized after a while, like, my design was somewhat looking the same, but then talking to other people that support me, they're like, no, that's why people are coming to you, because they like what you provide. So it's like, you need to study what I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a person that could give you boho.
Yeah.
That's not
it.
Yeah. I'm not somebody that can necessarily give you country living. That's not me. My style is more eclectic. Like, I pull in modern pieces and vintage pieces and mold them together. Like, so I think it's doing the research when you're deciding to get an interior designer, because I'm more passionate about the stuff that I love, and I'm gonna give you a great product
Yeah.
because I'm doing, what I love in that respect.
We all have our ideal client. I think we've figured that out. Like, okay, this is the client that's for me. We can't take everybody. I think we've all been in long enough where we know the red flags now. It's like, okay, you know what? I may not be it's good money, but I may not be a good fit for you.
Right.
And I think that's the key as well to longevity is knowing when to walk away from something. Because we've all been in situations where, okay, times got a little slow.
Right. I shouldn't have took that.
I'm gonna take it, and then the minute you take it, that person stresses you for they work you for every penny. And I mean down to the cent.
Yes.
Right.
They have gotten on your nerves that much.
Right.
What is the ideal client? And I think it's easy. I think it's easy to say the client because we all, I think planners, your ideal client is, of course, come in and just let me just handle it.
That's it.
That's the ideal client.
That's my ideal client. My wedding packages, my top package, my full service package. I tell the tagline on it is you get to just show up. Literally, just and my clients that book that are like, I just get to show up. Like they dance with it. They are excited about it because I'm literally handling all of the things for you. Those clients typically end up being my lifetime clients because they see how I've taken it from point A, the vision, to, see where it's the end product. And then they're booking me. One great example is a client, 2016 wedding. I did their wedding when I was transitioning from the Marriott. The bride had called me and she was like, oh, somebody recommended me. I've seen you at events that you've done at the Marriott. She was like, I want to do my wedding here because we have a large size. And I was like, I actually just put in my notice, so I won't be here by the time your wedding comes. And she was like, well, I'm going where you're going. That right there, I'm going where you're going. I don't even know this person. But the fact that they've seen and heard, that spoke very highly to me. And I was like, well, where I'm going to the convention center, that's probably not the vibe of what your wedding wants to be. But one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I want to do planning more on the side. And she was like, okay, well, that'll get me with you too. So why not I just hire you as my wedding planner? Went and did that moment. So we did their wedding later that year. The following year, she turned 40. Her husband hired me to do a surprise birthday party. After that, I did their baby shower. Then after that, I did the first child's birthday party. That couple is an entrepreneur too. When they ended up opening a brick and mortar store, I went in as an events director for them in the store. Time after time, but they were literally one of those clients that it was like, they just got to show up because I was handling everything for them, and they realized the value in having that person.
I'm 36 years old. I think I've told you this. I will pay for convenience at this point in my life. So I understand why I understand when a client pays that, because that was when I got a planner. I paid Carla to not have to deal with.
It took you 36 years to get there. I was there at 10.
I know you were. He's one of the reasons why I got the convenience. When I met him, he was all about, no, I'll get somebody else to do it, man.
I'm doing that shit.
Man, you gonna pay for that?
Yeah.
What you gonna do with your time? What I want to do. That's what he say. What I want to do. Not that. It took me, and I got my 30s out, but it took me a while to realize at this point, man, and I tell Amber, like, if I don't want to, well, we can drive to Charlotte. Who's driving to Charlotte?
Right. Absolutely, put me on a plane.
No. Yeah. I'll take my 1 hour, 30-minute flight to Charlotte for the couple extra $100 that I got to pay to be there and not have to be inconvenient.
It's a difference. And too, I think with us being entrepreneurs, and like you said, with not being able to cut off work, it just helps. It helps my productivity. I have somebody that cleans my house. I take my car to the dealership.
Yep.
Like now, and I love my father, love my parents, and they've instilled so much in me. My father works on cars on the side. He's always has. And growing up, that was what his uncles and his family taught him. So he taught me and my brothers. I can change the oil. I've changed the whole motor.
Don't mean you want to do.
You look at me,
you
think that,
right?
But I know how to do all.
We all have skills that our parents
like at that.
This is a clean brother here.
Man.
why in the world do you want to mess your hands and clothes up doing something when you don't have to do it?
Okay, hold up now.
Understand.
Hold up.
That makes no sense,
I've come to enjoy working on
you. What you just say? What was the key word?
Yeah, for sure.
You enjoy it,
but
you don't have to do that.
Well, I wasn't doing that to save. I did to start to save money, but when I got into it,
It's therapeutic.
But I'm not paying.
You got something else that you enjoy to do,
right?
So you don't want to clean your house,
yeah.
So you pay somebody to go do, and then you go do something else that's therapeutic to you.
Especially, but the thing that kills me, and I'm gonna keep harping on this: you pay somebody. I'm not gonna count the pockets, but you pay somebody a lot of money to micromanage them. That just don't make no sense.
Oh yeah.
That's stupid.
You just want somebody that's basically just gonna do what you say do.
Yeah.
No, that's not what you hired me for.
Yeah.
You hired me to plan this way.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now we can partner,
right?
But I don't understand how people
So
hire people to micromanage.
That's the middle package.
That's my middle package. So the full service, the partial, I say we hold hands together throughout the time.
So you'll take them on. You'll be there. You'll just be there.
So I'm guiding you through. And with both of those packages, I also create a monthly timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So we have checkoff points of things that you need to get done. In the full service, I'm checking them off.
You're checking them off.
Like I'm the one that's doing it.
Yeah.
But like I'm booking a dress appointment for you to go. I'm booking a tux appointment for you to go. Versus in other ones, like you're having to do that yourselves. I'm coordinating those things for you. Because at the end of the day, most of my clients work 9 to 5s. You don't have time during the day to be calling people, to be doing stuff. I'm handling all of that for you, so you don't have to.
Here's a tip. You cold calling me and Will, you're going to get the same thing everybody else get.
Right.
Ryan calls me and Will.
Oh,
right.
Yo, man, I got you, bro.
I got you.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, I only got, my client only has an hour. It's a Sunday from 12 to 1. I know you're rested, but I got you. Right?
I got you.
I literally, last year wedding, clients at Hermitage, they went through the list and they had found one of the catering companies, East Beach Catering, and they initially told them that they weren't available that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They then hired me because they fit. So I also get a lot of clients that they'll start to plan it on their own, and then they realize like,
they need you.
Like I don't want to do it, and so then to bring me in. So then when we were going through like, oh hey, who's doing your catering? They're like, well, we wanted to do East Beach, but they're not available that weekend. That relationship that we talked about earlier, I sent her
to Chelsea, and
and then she was like, "Oh, for you, yeah, I'll make an exception," and we added it on for the weekend
because she just has to worry about taking care of what she has to take care of.
Right, exactly.
I don't have time to go into another wedding, and
I got a plan.
And I am the planner,
and I've seen that happen. Yeah. Like speaking of East Beach, like I've seen that happen
because Chelsea. That's how
Chelsea has had to come in and start planning. And
she's going to do her job, and she's going to make sure. Look. I've got food to make sure time.
Exactly.
Yep.
If I got to step up to make sure the party's moving like it's supposed to, I'll do what I got to do.
Oh yeah, I know, but that's legit in venues. What I kid you not, another DJ did not do announcements, and I went to the planner and was like, "Well, the DJ doesn't do announcements. Who's announcing the people?" She was like, "Oh, I don't do announcing either." I said, "Don't worry about it." I went to the wedding party. I was like, "What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?"
Food
and went through because my food was gonna be trash if we had to wait it. I went and grabbed the mic from the DJ and I stood in the hallway and I announced. I went through the names. I'm the venue person.
Shouldn't have to be doing
announcing names like craziness, but the show must go on. I'm gonna make sure that it happened because at the end of the day, you're not about to complain that your food was bad because of your lack of a good planner and good vendors.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where it's like I think people just didn't understand the power of a planner and the power a planner has.
It's so crazy. And I'm giving an example of a friend of ours, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
We had a vow renewal in Miami last year.
Mm-hmm.
He had a death in the family literally that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
This man drove out of town, drove back to get on a flight to come and shoot for that vow renewal. And in my mind, I probably would have been like, nah, bro, I can't do it. But even if he had done that, he would have called you or he would have called you to be able to fill in those situations. Yep. And that's what you get when you have a planner that has great relationships with people. They're not going to let you down.
Yep.
Hands down, anybody that I've known for years or specifically worked with, I know for a fact that you're not going to leave me hanging in any kind of situation. You're going to fill in. You're going to send somebody else. You're going to do something to make sure that thing happens. And when
you know that person
on
is
your
going to
own
be
and stuff like that, you're not getting that.
just as good. You already know it.
Right.
Like it's
Take care of
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like yeah, man. Like that's a good point, bro.
It's
like,
a no-brainer.
It's hire a planner.
Man.
Just hire a planner. Just stop being cheap.
So let's land the plane. Where do you see our Wynn Collective? Because it's a lot of hats.
Yeah.
What's the 5 year? Where are you gonna be in 5 years?
5 years. So I'm 36 as well. So 5 year, 41. I want to be in other locations. I want to have boutique storefronts in other places. I know everybody's always like, oh, I want a venue, da da da. And sometimes the vendors that get venues don't make sense to me because I'm like, that's
You don't
not
even
even your window.
Not yours. Yeah,
like,
not yours. Not
but
yours.
whatever. They're doing it. Hopefully that it's successful. But eventually I was like by 45, I want to have a smaller intimate setting venue. But definitely by 41, like I want to have locations in DC and in Atlanta because those are also places where people are willing to spend money. And with interior design, that can range a whole lot. But being able to have that presence is definitely one of the things that I see myself having with teams in other places.
I give you a city don't sleep on. I give you a city that you shouldn't sleep on. I would stay out of Atlanta and go to Charlotte.
Hey, Charlotte is coming.
I'm telling you, man.
It is. Yeah,
that's the next one.
They've ruined Atlanta.
Atlanta's done.
Yeah.
Atlanta's
I
done.
just need the address.
You know what I'm saying?
Or like a nice little penthouse.
Get a P.O. box, bro.
Right.
Get a P.O. box. Don't go down there.
Yeah.
Go to Charlotte.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's definitely where I see it.
I like
just
that, man.
The growth.
Yeah.
Last year, I was somewhere everywhere because of being able to just grow. I was in Arizona. I believe I was in California. I was in Florida. I was in DC. Having that flexibility as an entrepreneur is one of the things that I absolutely love. But being able to branch the business out that way too is kind of
that's awesome.
Where I want to go.
It's yours.
Yeah, I'm ready.
It's yours, man. Yeah.
All right. Well, bring us on home.
Yo, this has been an amazing conversation, man.
Yes.
Seriously, and it's very, very informative, and it's been very educational, man. So I really appreciate. We do too, you being able to do this and imparting the knowledge, and I'm happy to see your growth, man, and where you're taking this from, and where you're going with it, and anywhere else you want the people to hit you up on.
So Instagram is HnM Collective. Website needs to be redone, but www.rwynncollective.com. And I am on Facebook a little bit. I have realized that some of my target clients are probably on there, and I need to get on there more.
Definitely.
But I just hired an admin person as well, so we'll be, doing those things too. But HnM Collective on Facebook too.
HnM Collective on Facebook. And how can the people reach you on email?
Yeah, so info@rwynncollective.com, and it's right there too.
There it is. Check them out.
How to spell it.
Y'all, we appreciate you tuning in to the Hustle and Motivate podcast. Y'all be sure to hit up my guy Ryan, and we'll see y'all on the next one. And always remember, respect the hustle if you earn from it, and motivate others in the process. We'll see y'all on the next one.